What if, what if the most critical infrastructure in your 2026 strategic roadmap doesn't require an office, never sleeps, and operates entirely autonomously?
It's a wild thought, right? But it's happening.
It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that for a second. We aren't talking about spinning up a new server farm or, doing a standard cloud migration. We are talking about deploying an actual digital workforce.
Yeah, and the data backs up how fast this is moving.
Right. So according to McKinsey's 2025 AI State of the Union report, a massive 72% of enterprise leaders now view AI agents, not just models, but autonomous agents, as mission critical for the next 2 years.
Which is just a staggering number.
It really is. So welcome to today's deep dive. Our mission today is to unpack AetherLink's AI Agents in Agentic Development Enterprise Readiness 2026 guide. We want to help you separate the conceptual hype from the urgent operational realities you need to deal with right now.
And that urgency is exactly why this matters for you right this second. Especially if you're a European CTO or a business leader, we're going through a massive paradigm shift.
Moving away from the isolated models, right?
Exactly. Let's define the jargon right away. We are shifting from isolated AI models like your standard chatbot that just answers a single question and stops to what we call agent-first operations.
Because those older models, they basically operate in a vacuum.
Right. But these new agents, they execute multi-step reasoning. They integrate directly into your enterprise tools, and they continuously learn. And the stakes here are huge because 68% of Fortune 500 companies are already piloting these workflows. Your competitors are not waiting.
I want to spend a minute on that shift, actually, because calling an AI agent, a smarter chatbot, just completely misses the point.
Oh, it completely undervalues the technology.
Right. If a traditional AI chatbot is like a microwave that just heats up whatever you put in, an AI agent is like a personal chef who checks your fridge, orders the groceries, cooks the meal, and then cleans the kitchen afterward.
I love that analogy. It perfectly captures what we call the compounding operational value of agents.
Break that down a bit. Compounding how?
Well, the chef doesn't just do one thing, right? An agent breaks complex problems down into subtasks. So imagine an agent managing your supply chain. It doesn't just say, hey, there's a delay.
Right. The microwave just dings when it's done.
Exactly. But the agent identifies the delay, autonomously queries secondary suppliers, calculates freight costs, drafts the purchase order, and then just pings the C-suite or the logistics manager for final approval.
Wow. So it's orchestrating the whole fix.
Yes. Across research, coding, supply chains, it's executing continuous reasoning loops. The more tools you give it, the more bottlenecks it resolves.
Okay, but if agents are the chefs, what happens when they start, building the kitchen? Because the fastest area of adoption right now seems to be software development.
Oh, without a doubt. The coding revolution is moving at breakneck speed.
Right. And the guide focuses heavily on Claude Code AI and its multimodal capabilities.
Yeah.
And when we say multimodal here, we aren't just talking about generating a quick Python script from a text prompt.
Not at all. Multimodality in practice means the AI can digest completely different formats of data at the same time.
Like reading UI mockups.
Exactly. It can look at a visual Figma file and instantly translate that into a functional front-end component. Or it can analyze a messy, hand-drawn architecture diagram from a whiteboard and spot your technical debt before you even write a line of code.
Wait, it can extract requirements from image-based legacy documentation?
Yeah, it ingests it, understands the constraints, and actually architects the solution.
Okay, but this is where I have to push back a little, because the guide mentions a Fortune 100 company that saw a 40% reduction in development cycle time and a 3.2x ROI in just 18 months.
Those are real numbers, yeah.
Right, but with a 40% reduction in time, isn't this just a countdown to replacing human developers entirely? Like, why keep the headcount?
Well, this raises an important question, right? It looks like a replacement tool on a spreadsheet, but if you look closely at that same Fortune 100 data, there was actually a 35% increase in developer satisfaction.
Wait, really? Satisfaction went up?
Yes, because you aren't eliminating the engineers, you're eliminating the boilerplate work they absolutely hate doing.
Oh, I see. So the repetitive setup and the unit tests.
Exactly. The agents handle the tedious refactoring. So the humans transition from being, bricklayers to being master architects. They get to strategize and train the models instead of typing boilerplate.
That makes a lot of sense. But giving software that level of autonomy, even if it's just building the kitchen, to use the analogy, that's incredibly powerful. But it also feels like a massive liability without the right guardrails.
Oh, it's a huge liability, which leads us straight into the EU AI Act 2026.
Right. Because if an agent autonomously pushes a code update that violates data privacy laws, saying the AI did it isn't going to hold up in court.
No, the regulators do not care. The EU AI Act places these autonomous systems firmly in the high-risk AI systems category. And you have to have strict governance. Forrester Research actually has this 5-level maturity model to track this.
And most companies are not doing great on that scale, right? Because I saw that Deloitte 2025 study in the guide showing 63% of European enterprises are stuck at level 1 or 2.
Yeah, they're essentially just reactive or managed. They are nowhere near ready.
So what does this all mean for the listener whose company is sitting at level 1 right now?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, moving up to level 4, which is the optimized level mandated by the Act, isn't just about avoiding fines.
It's not just a compliance checkbox.
Right. It transforms compliance into a competitive advantage. It builds customer trust and massive operational resilience. If you're at level 4, you can deploy faster because your guardrails are automated.
Okay, so reaching level 4 maturity is basically mandatory if you want to stay in the game. But how does a mid-market enterprise actually get there? Because you can't just bankrupt yourself hiring 50 new AI compliance officers.
No, and that's the classic build versus buy dilemma. This is where AetherMIND's 4-phase strategic roadmap comes in. It goes foundation, pilot, scale, and then advanced.
And getting that foundation right without over-hiring is where this concept of fractional AI leadership comes up, right?
Exactly.
I really like the way the guide frames this. It's like hiring a seasoned mountain guide to lead your team up Everest, rather than watching a YouTube tutorial and just hoping for the best.
That's exactly what it is. You bring in an external AI lead architect to work alongside your internal developers.
But doesn't that cause friction?
Sometimes, sure. But the data from Forrester shows that 68% of enterprises under 500 million euros in revenue are already using fractional consulting.
And it actually works.
It cuts their time to ROI by 40%. Because the fractional leader prevents the team from building non-compliant, brittle architectures. They guide you through the pilot phase safely.
Okay, I want to prove this roadmap actually works in the real world. Let's talk about the European fintech case study from the guide.
Oh, this is a perfect example of doing it right.
Yeah, so this is a 120 million euro company, and over 12 months, AetherMIND helped them deploy 3 specific agents.
Right, they kept it focused.
Exactly. They deployed a loan evaluation agent, a compliance monitoring agent, and a customer insights agent. And the results are crazy. Over the next 18 months, they saw 45% faster loan origination.
Which is huge for a mid-market player.
Massive. And a 62% reduction in compliance violations, plus 2.8 million euros in incremental revenue from the insights agent.
The revenue is great, but what's fascinating here is the human element of that success. Because there's a paradox with AI agents.
What do you mean?
The more autonomy you give a system, the more explainability you actually need. If the loan agent is just a black box saying deny, nobody trusts it.
Oh, right. The loan officers would just ignore it.
Exactly. So they use human-in-the-loop designs. The AI does all the heavy analytical lifting, but a human gives the final approval. And to make that work, they implemented decision logging.
So the AI is basically showing its work.
Yes. It logs every variable, every weight, and its confidence interval in a JSON payload. But obviously, a loan officer isn't going to read raw JSON.
Right. They just look at that and go, what is this?
So a secondary model translates that technical log into a plain English report. It literally explains, I denied this because of X, Y, and Z.
Treating it transparently like that, instead of as a black box, the data shows that leads to 73% higher employee adoption, right?
And 51% better customer acceptance, according to HBR. Transparency is everything.
Which honestly leads perfectly into my #1 takeaway from all of this. When I look at this guide, the realization for me is that transparency isn't just a regulatory checkbox.
No, not at all.
It is the actual engine of employee and customer adoption. If you want that massive ROI, you have to show your work. If it's a black box, the deployment is going to fail.
I couldn't agree more. My #1 takeaway focuses on the timeline. The EU AI Act 2026 should really be viewed as a blueprint, not a burden.
A blueprint for resilience.
Exactly. Proactive assessment right now prevents massive deployment delays and remediation costs later. If you're stuck at level 1, the time to start phase 1 of that roadmap is today.
I think that's the perfect place to leave it. But before we go, I want to leave you with a final lingering question to mull over.
It's a tough one.
It is. So imagine an autonomous agent is independently orchestrating multi-step workflows. It's interacting with your core enterprise systems. And then it makes an error that causes a massive financial loss.
It happens.
Right. So who is ultimately held responsible? Is it your software vendor? Is it your fractional AI lead? Or is it you?
Definitely something every leader needs to figure out before 2026.
For more AI insights, visit AetherLink AI.